Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are at what I just call the gate bed because it is at the gate to the nursery. It's very original, I know. So what we are going to do today is some cleanup. And I'll be honest, right, I have always been very open about successes and messes here at both the nursery and our personal home. There are some areas back here that are just, they're rough. They look rough, and I was like, Jenny, do you just show this, or do you just, this is a project you do by yourself and we just don't talk about it? But no, we are gonna talk about it, that, you know what? There are great things going on up here, and there are things that are not looking so hot. So I'm just gonna walk you through and show you just what is happening in all of, there's really two beds. There is the one here at the mailbox, and then the big one, the main one, is of course right here where the sign is. So I'm gonna walk you through and show you the successes and the messes, and then we're gonna talk about what we're gonna do and how we are going to transition both of these beds into the fall and winter months. So of course, here we are. When you come to the nursery, this is what you're going to see. This is the entrance into the nursery and our house. So over on the right side here at the mailbox, we've been in this bed several times. We were in here late winter when I severely pruned back these sunshine ligustrums. You can see that they have flushed out nice and tall, lots of beautiful color on them. They are a little thin with inside of them, so I might throw some slow release fertilizer on them because we do have some good growing months still to go. What is doing beautiful right here is the Blew My Mind XL Ovobulus. The XL is new this year. Blew My Mind is not new at all, but this is a member of the Morning Glory family. You can see we've got a honeybee visiting the flowers. This is one of the absolute most drought tolerant, easy, low maintenance plants ever. So little Miss Honeybee is just going from flower to flower. They do love these blue flowers. Very low growing, but will form kind of a mat, so it spreads out almost like a ground cover. It is an annual for us. So what I will do as far as maintenance on this spot is that I'm just gonna wait. Like I said, I might throw some slow release fertilizer on the ligustrums. That would be at a half rate. You can easily do that with your shrubs and perennials in the fall. So just kind of a half dose. Plant tone is of course what we use a lot. It's a good generic all-purpose fertilizer. And then I'm going to wait until a freeze hits and kills my Ovobulus. At that time, I will simply pull it out. I may put violas in, but for us to get a freeze, then that's going to be later on. So we're talking about like probably late November. And so I may just decide to leave this bare, throw down some nice compost as a little bit of a ground cover, as a mulch, and then just leave it that way. Come next spring, I can put my flowering annuals in there. So this bed is just gonna sit for today. We are good to go. Ovobulus, massive success this year, as it always is. I just love this plant. Wonderful, wonderful plant. Now this bed has its fair share of messes, but it does have some successes. The most marvelous success is this new Surefire begonia. It will be available next year, so spring of 2023. This is the Surefire Cherry Cordial. Love, love, love Surefire begonias. I think you can probably understand why. This new cherry cordial has just the most gorgeous red blooms on it and a nice deep dark foliage. It is a really deep green. It'll have a little bit of a black hue to it. Here it's just a really nice dark green. And the Surefires are great because they can do sun or shade. All of this was came in grande containers when I planted them, and you can just see how they have filled in gorgeous, nice and thick, beautiful. You cannot see the messes behind it, so that is a definite success. Very, very happy with that. The caladiums this year struggled right here. I think it's because we had such high heat and extreme, and that is why we have a lot of the plants that are struggling right now. It is because of the heat and humidity that we had this year. We had record number of 90-degree days. And I know some of you that have like, you know, temperatures up in the hundreds. It's not only the temperature that you have to think about for us, it is the dew point and the humidity. So when we have temperatures in the 90s, we can also have, you know, humidity in the 90s. So it's just absolutely oppressive, and our nights do not cool down. Therefore, especially my cool weather plants, they are struggling. My astilbes, my ferns, some of my hostas, they are on the struggle bus because they never got a reprieve from that heat and humidity. So we're going to address that. So caladiums, we're just going to go ahead and rip them out. I would rather have it neat and clean than messy. So all of those are going to come out. Caladiums are an annual. I am not going to try to save them. It is absolutely not worth all the hassle. They will get tossed. Over here, you can see that my eucharas, this is black pearl. Again, just massive struggle bus. 4 of them are alive. The one in the back is not. So we will go ahead and pull that out. Later on, I will determine how we're going to handle this. Do I leave them all? Do I replant? Do I do something else? What I'm going to do, I'll have to figure that out later. Then we also have right here, you'll remember I planted this hydrangea and then the ajuga. It was a hard summer trying to keep these guys alive and keep them watered. One ajuga looks a little sad. With a little bit of water, it will perk right back up and be just fine. The hydrangea, she's hanging in there. She's had a rough go, but only being in the ground for a couple of months, and it was the hottest part of the months. She's alive, and so it's okay. Now we're gonna move on down here because I think it'll be easier for me to show you some of the other things. The Mahonia is hanging in there, doing well. We have 2 of the Lemon Love eucharas. This one was already on the struggle bus. Clearly it is just pitiful. I'll go ahead and pull that one out, and then the one in the back is hanging on, so we'll leave her alone. You can see what I was talking about with my astilbes. I have got 2, these are, I believe, the milk and honey astilbes. It will be determined later on if this one really is dead. So you can see, I mean, all the foliage is just, you know, the foliage is dead. I don't know if the root is dead. That's the great thing about perennials. So I will completely cut both of these back, and we will see next spring if they flush back. And then my hostas, I will leave. They are a bit tattered. You can see that they've got some burn on them. I'm going to leave them alone. The only thing I may do is if they have some stalks, I will clean those stalks off, but I am going to leave it alone. They're alive. Their root system is alive. They'll be just fine. And then let's see what else. Oh yeah. So then down here in the back, we have my lady in red ferns. For whatever reason, these 2, so this guy and this one, this girl, do the best. I guess maybe they get the most rain, the most water. They still have green on them. And then I have 2 in the back that are, you can't even tell probably that they're there, right there. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut everybody down to the ground. Obviously I will get all my weeds out, cut them down to the ground, and let them put all of their energy into their roots and not try to keep the top foliage alive. So that is, when you have perennials that are struggling at the end of the summer, and it literally fall is like two days away, I think it is. So we are literally the last days of summer. It has been hot, it has been humid. Everybody is tired. We are ready for a break. Gardeners and plants included, we are ready for a break. So I'm just gonna spend some time in here getting things cleaned up, getting things neat and tidy. But with your perennials, keep in mind, your main goal is your root system. Keep your root system alive. So when you have end of summer and you've got cool weather plants that are struggling, bleeding hearts, hostas, hostas maybe not so much, so bleeding hearts, astilbes, pulmonaria, any of those like really cold hardy plants, my heaven sent, if they are struggling, just cut them down. Just cut them down. If they have enough energy, they'll put out some new growth, but we want all that energy to go back into the roots so they go to bed or early. It's like toddlers. Send them to bed early for the winter. They'll rejuvenate and be much happier when they come back in the springtime. There's one last area that I want to show you. If you remember, we have, let's flip the camera around right here. On the other side of the gate, I have an aqua pot. This is the partner of the aqua pots at the pergola. You can't even see the aqua pot right now, but I had planted it in the Lime-Time Coleus, the Sun Patience, and the Silver Bullet Artemisia. Clearly, it is not a happy container. The Lime-Time, you know, it's doing okay. We're gonna rip it all out. We're gonna rip all that out, and we are going to fake plant this mum inside of it. We are going to leave it in the container. I'm not actually going to plant it, but I'll dig a hole when we get in there with the aqua pot, and it'll look like it's planted, but it's really not. And then we will get that sweet thing filled with water. Gonna be completely honest, I struggle keeping water in this aqua pot because it is so far away from everything else. And I think for me personally, I get a false sense of, oh, it's an aqua pot, it's self-watering container, you know, it's holding its water. Well, it's not gonna hold water if Jenny doesn't put water in it. Total gardener fault, not the plant's fault, not the aqua pot fault, it's Jenny's fault. Take ownership where ownership is due. That is my problem. So we will get the mum in, and then we will fill that sucker up with some water. And so the mum can still soak up the water, because of course there's holes in the bottom of the container that it is in. So we get everything set up and just start getting some things cleaned. Okay, so I got the caladiums out and you saw that I decided to go ahead and just snap back those eucharis. I didn't rip out the root system. We will see if they bounce back. I don't have high hopes for them, especially since I just went ahead and pinched all their little heads off, but it was just looking too ratty, and it was going to drive me crazy every time I drove by here. So I went ahead and pinched them off. If they regrow, then awesome, fantastic. If not, then I will find something that's a little bit more drought tolerant, and or something fun, a pop of color. That would be really fun. I don't know if we get enough color to do like some barberries right there. Nice pop of red or orange. Anyway, it just gives me a little bit of freedom to do something different next year if I want to. Then I just took my rake and cleaned up the area. Just kind of smooth it out. Neat and tidy, in my opinion, is always better than like cluttered and messy. So I would rather have nothing there and it be neat and tidy than something to be there and clearly it is struggling. What I'm going to do is just move the camera around, and we're just going to kind of do the same thing to those astilbes and the ferns. I'm going to cut everybody down flat to the ground, get all the weeds out, clean those up, and then see what other else needs my attention this afternoon. My friends, so the big bed here has been all cleaned up. I've got all those perennials cut back that needed to be trimmed back, and the annuals that needed to come out have been out. What am I going to do with this bed in the long term, as far as in the next coming months? Really, I'm going to wait until we get a hard freeze and the leaves fall. The vast majority of the leaves around here will fall in, you know, late fall, early winter, except for we have some oak trees that are right here on the corner, and those are those lovely oak trees that hold their leaves all season long and just continue to fall all the way until spring. So that's just a constant battle. So once we have that freeze, those leaves fall, of course I will come in here and get rid of the then dead begonias, get the leaves out. Last year what we did is I just had the blower and I blew them all into the field beside of me, and then we used the mower to chop them up, mulch them up, and use that as leaf litter. It's a fantastic way to use organic matter and get it back into your flower beds. Probably go ahead and do a little bit of top dressing with some compost. I love putting my compost on my perennial beds and letting it sit all winter. Just really enriches the soil, get all those good microbes and microorganisms growing during the winter time, and then just let it sit and let it rest. I will not put pansies, violas, fall flowers in here because it just does not get enough sun. I have tried it before and it was just honestly a waste of my time and a waste of the plants because they just don't get enough sun and they just did terrible. So we just let this bed rest for the winter. Now we're going to go over here and we're going to get this aqua pot cleaned out as far as the old summer annuals in there, and then we're going to cheat a little bit, work smarter not harder, and get the mum in there, and it's going to make a huge transformation. All right, so here we are at this really bedraggled, bless its heart, aqua pot. So we're going to get all of these annuals out, and it is quite dry in there. Again, not the pot's fault, it's Jenny's fault, but it's all right. Life happens, you just go with it and you do the best you can. Now, there are 2 of these coleuses in here, and they are quite massive and extensive, as our color blaze is. So we're just going to snap it, break it, get it in there. And then I think probably a lot of people, if you're blessed to have some space on your property, we just have a natural area that we add all of our green debris to. I wouldn't say it's, you know, exactly a compost plant, section, because we don't do true composting there. It's just that we allow the, oh my goodness, look at that. We just allow the plants to naturally decay and just return to the earth. So we don't, unless we have disease infected plants, they just go back into kind of a dump pile, as we call it, and don't worry about putting them in the trash can. I know we've had a couple of people ask that before, and I know that there was a lot of soil on that, but that's all right because I need to get some soil out so that I have room for the mum to nestle down into. So I'm not going to take the soil out because the soil is going to act like a holder for my mum. So we're just going to get this out of the way, clean up down here just a little bit. So here I have my big, beautiful yellow mum. I went with yellow because yellow always stands out, I think, as far as the best color at a distance. And when people are coming down to the nursery, I want this to really pop out. And then of course we do have those yellow sunshine ligustrums at the mailbox, so this will kind of echo that color. All I've done is do a divot down into the soil. We're going to see placement wise, that's pretty darn good right there. We're keeping it simple today, y'all. Don't overcomplicate matters. So we always got to take a look at the front. Looks a little lopsided. Let's flip it around. I think the mum grew this way, so let's pivot. Now, no, Jerry says no. If this is the hardest part of my day, then I'm good. Yep, my hole's off a little center. So we're gonna move the flat spot over a little bit here. Yes? No? He still says no. So, is the mum crooked? Better? Worse? Okay, so the mum's crooked. Not necessarily. There we go. Awesome. All right. So see, y'all, you don't have to make gardening hard. Fake it out, especially with the mum that's, you know, a annual for us. I treat them as annuals. If you want them to be a perennial, then go ahead and plant them directly into the landscape now. I treat them as annuals. Cars are going to be driving by. This is not like a high walking area right here, so people are just going to be driving by. You're going to have this beautiful pop of yellow color, and it is going to be gorgeous. So I don't feel quite as embarrassed with this area now when we have visitors come to the nursery. We are in, and I say this lightly, we need rain. I know that there are areas of the country that are desperately like months without rain, but it has, when you're used to having a lot of good rain, it certainly is nice to get it on a regular basis so that the plants, of course, can thrive. So we'll take some rain if it's coming, but the cool temperatures are coming later on this week, so that is a huge, exciting event for us here in North Carolina. We do love some cool, dry air here in the Carolinas. So get out there. If it's still warm where you are, like it is here in North Carolina. Words are hard sometimes, y'all. We will get it out one of these days. Just get out when you can. I knew this area was going to be in shade. Right now, the afternoon sun is coming, so I wanted to get out here when it was still shady. So choose your times to do it, right? Don't work harder if you don't have to, and just welcome in those cooler temperatures as they come. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.